Are you ready to finally break free from overwhelm, procrastination, and burnout? If you're ready to focus on what truly matters and create momentum to reach and exceed your goals in business and in life, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Efficiency Advantage, the podcast where clarity meets action and purpose that fuels your progress. So here's world-class productivity expert and your host, Coach Juli.
Well, hello. Welcome to the Efficiency Advantage. I am Coach Juli Shulem, and I am really excited that you are listening today because I've got some wonderful information to share with you. I'm going to start this episode off by talking about routines, particularly the morning routine. This is a really good place to start because the first routine that one should have is pretty much at the beginning of the day. And I thought that would be a good place to begin today's episode. So, why should you have a morning routine? Well, routines actually help us be really productive and efficient. They allow us to have some structure in our days and allow us to be able to know, what we're doing when and how we're going to get through a certain set of tasks or events, if you will, so that you get things done in a reasonable period of time and you can move forward from there. I want to talk a little bit about morning routines in particular because these are really, really essential for having consistency. And when I've worked with clients on setting up their morning routines, we also set up the bedtime routine, but we'll do that next episode. But the morning routine allows you to pretty much have a really good idea of when you need to get up, when you're going to get ready for your day, whatever that day is, if you're going to an office or if you're going to work down the hall, or if you are not working at all, but you've got other responsibilities in your life, as we all do. So my intention here is to help you establish some morning routines and also know why you're even having them. And I'm going to share some of the stories and benefits that I have been able to, impact others that I've worked with on this exact issue. So here's the first thing. You want to kind of have an idea of when is your day going to begin? All right, we want to get some parameters set up. So when is your day going to be starting? Are you starting at 8:30 in the morning, 7:45, 9, 10 o'clock, whatever that time is that your day begins? And when I say that, I'm meaning when you're going to leave for work, if you're going to a job, when you're going to start with your first appointment, if you have a job that keeps you in the home, which is great too. So any of these, whatever that time is, whatever that consistent time is, that's the end of the morning routine. Okay, so you're going to look and see what is the earliest time for the most part, the lowest common denominator that you are going to start your day at. Let's say, for example, 3 or 4 days a week, you start at 8:30, but that other day you start at 8. Well, then you might want to plan your days to start at 8 so that you have the consistency of being ready for that earlier time. Even though it's only 1 day, maybe 2 days a week, it'll give you that consistency. And the days that you don't have to start at 8, you got an extra little half hour, you can do something else that is meaningful in your life. So whether that be sitting and maybe reading a book or doing something else that you don't generally have time for. So you can use that time wisely. We can get to that in another episode. But what I want to share with you here is how to go about setting up a morning routine and why you should do this. So, for example, let's say that you have a consistent list, if you will, of tasks, things that you do to get ready. Take a shower, you may meditate, you might sit and have a cup of tea, you might, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. Now, we all generally change our clothes, get dressed for the day. So that is on your list. Take care of your personal self-care and hygiene kinds of activities. So those things you want to allow time for. If you take medications or vitamins or supplements in the morning, you want to make sure that's on your list as well. And yeah, I'm getting into the nitty-gritty and the details because they're important. And they're important because they all take time. And if they're going to take your time, you want to allow for that. Okay. You want to have some awareness of where your time is being spent. And you'll hear this theme go throughout many of my episodes because that's kind of what I work on and help people with is where our time is being spent. So by putting together a realistic morning routine, by what I mean by that is taking the things that you do in the morning every day and putting them in a logical order. So, for example, let's say you get up and the first thing you do is go into the shower. Great. That's number one. That's the first thing that you're going to do. And then maybe, brush your teeth and do your hair and whatever else you might do in the bathroom. And then after that, get dressed. That would be a logical thing. Or maybe you get up and you change into workout clothes and you work out and then you shower and then get dressed in your day clothes. Whatever your routine is, you want to put down the order that you do things in. Now, my experience tells me that most of us actually kind of have an order that we do things in just automatically. We've been doing it for a long time and we pretty much have this consistent routine. That's great. And that would not surprise me in the least because many of us do this. However, some people I've noticed don't actually have a consistent order that they do things in, and they're kind of bopping around the house and doing things in random order. And then sometimes they miss a step, they miss doing something that they had intended or wanted to do. So you want to actually write down, and I literally have my clients write these things down at the at the time that they're going to do them. Now, the way to make this easy, I will always give you the easy button, is you want to actually start with the time you're going to be done and then put the task that or the activity, whatever it is you're going to be doing last. So maybe the last thing you do is gather your belongings or clean up, breakfast dishes, whatever it may be. But that last thing is going to be the first thing you write down, and you're going to do this in reverse. So you're going to put the last thing you're going to do and allow the time it's going to take to do it in your schedule, your routine first, and then back it up. What's the thing you do before that? What's the thing you do before that? Allowing the time you need to allocate for that specific activity or task in this schedule. Now, when you do this, yes, you absolutely want to attach a time to it. So let's say the last thing you do is gather your belongings, and that takes you 10 minutes. Okay, I'm just making something up here. And let's say you are going to be out the door in the car at 8 o'clock. So that last task you're going to put down at 7:50 a.m. That gives you the 10 minutes to get yourself out the door and in the car, right? Now, the thing that you're going to do before that, let's say eat breakfast and do the dishes, and let's say you need 20 minutes for that. Great. At 7:30 is when you should be eating breakfast and doing the dishes. So you just keep backing the time up. Now, why is it important to do it this way? Because by putting everything in that you need to do in the order that you've already set that it needs to be done in, but putting it in the time schedule based on when you have to be finished and then reversing the time, this is going to tell you when you need to wake up and get out of bed. Now, those may be different times. Not everybody wakes up and jumps right out of bed. Many people need to hit that snooze button maybe once, or they need to just kind of just sit and get used to being awake for a few minutes. That's fine. But it's not fine if you don't allocate time for that. So if let's say it takes you 10, 15 minutes to kind of get out of bed from the time you wake, That's no problem. Just make sure you set your alarm to allow for that time. So you can just say, wake up time, put it in your calendar. Let's say it's 6:45 to 7, and you have your alarm set at 6:45. You're not getting out of bed till 7. That's okay. But at least you've allocated the time and you wake up when you need to. This is important. And the reason you want to make sure that you get your morning routine figured out first is because this affects your bedtime or evening routine. And that's the next one that you're going to want to put in. So once you have this morning routine figured out, that's great. Then what you're going to need to do is put it in your calendar. Now, whatever calendar system you're using, if it's a digital system on Google or on iCal with Apple, whatever system you have that you use to keep track of your activities, this is where it goes. And you're going to want to put this morning routine as a block of time. Let's say it's an hour and a half. So let's say it's from 6:30 to 8. And that's the time you've allocated to get started on your day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to work. That's great. You're going to put that in your calendar on repeat every day. Yes, I know I just said every day, and that means the weekends too. I'll tell you why. Our bodies get used to a certain rhythm. We get used to a certain schedule. And when we are consistent, we don't have as much difficulty, or very little, if at all, waking up on time. If you're changing your wake up times and your bedtimes all the time, every day, every few days, that actually messes with our circadian rhythms and makes it difficult for us to wake up feeling refreshed, which is, by the way, you're supposed to feel when you wake up. So if you're sleeping well, you'll feel great when you wake up and you'll have energy and you'll want to start your day. That's awesome. If you don't have consistency built in, it makes it really difficult to have that experience. So, by setting your schedule so that you consistently go to sleep and wake up at the same time, actually makes a huge difference in how you are the rest of the time when you're awake. This helps with efficiency, with productivity, with creativity, a whole bunch of ivities. Okay. So it will really affect how you show up for yourself and for others. I know, just from a morning routine. Can you even imagine? So the morning routine is really, really important and pivotal so that you have the success that you want. Okay. So with this, you're going to set this in your calendar. You're going to have it repeat. And whatever color you may have chosen for your personal time, that's also a discussion we'll have another time. That is the color that you're going to use for this, because that is your personal time, your personal color. So this is going to set up on your calendar every morning. It's going to be this banner, if you will, across your schedule if you look at it a week at a glance. Now, we're going to do the same thing for a bedtime evening routine, but I'll talk about that next time. I want to see how many of you actually put this together and make this a reality, make this happen for you, because this is what is so crucial. We want to get a good start to the day. Nobody feels good if they've started late or missed a step, didn't have, their breakfast or morning coffee or whatever it is that kind of gets you going for the day. So this is something that you want to get started with right away. It's an easy thing to do. And I kind of liken it to a puzzle. I'll tell you why. When we do a puzzle, if for any of you who do jigsaw puzzles, all right, I am referring to a jigsaw puzzle, by the way. There's so many others, but a jigsaw puzzle, what's the first thing you do when you're working a jigsaw puzzle? What's the first part you put together? I know you can't answer me, so I'm going to answer for you. The borders. Okay, we put the border together first. Because it's easy, because we can see what that is. It sets the parameters around what's going to fill the rest of the space. It gives us an idea of what the space is, what we have to work with. That's the key. By putting your morning routine and your bedtime routine in your calendar, these are the borders of your day. And now all you get to do or need to do is fill the space between them. That's the space you get to work with. And it helps our brain to be able to kind of plan better, really, and see what you have available. Otherwise, it looks like, it's just infinity. It's just, well, there's so much, we don't know when we're going to end. Well, we all have an end time and a beginning time of our days. So put that in there. I bet you that you will find that this makes a huge difference in how you plan, schedule, and run your day and your life. So this is podcast number 2. And this is the first thing that I want to impart to everyone is set up your morning routine. Put it in your calendar. Just write in morning routine. You don't have to write all the little steps. However, I highly recommend until those little steps become complete habit, automatic, that you print it out, write it out, print it out, put it in a couple different places in your house. It might be on your bedside table, could also be on your bathroom mirror, and maybe in the kitchen on the refrigerator, just as some ideas of where those can go. And when you've got it nailed, you got it down, and you do this every day, it just happens. You don't even have to look at the list anymore. When you find you don't look at the list anymore, that's when it's become a habit and you're good. Then you take the list down, because now this is how you are normally functioning. This is how you are working. And that's awesome. So that is your task, if you will, for this first week. See how this goes for you. If you have any questions or you want to comment on this, you can go to the link that is down below, which is askjulie.com, and you can message me and I will do my very best to answer all questions and comments that come in on the next podcast. Okay, that is all for today. I'm going to keep these podcasts short and sweet, keep them around 15 minutes or so, because I want to keep your attention and I want to give you really great content and really great information that you can just take and run with. Okay, so that is what you're going to be working on. If you already do this, awesome. You are ahead of the game. And if you have any questions, you know where to go. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to sharing more wonderful ideas with you in upcoming episodes. If you enjoyed this episode of The Efficiency Advantage, don't forget to subscribe. Push the button today. Can't wait to see you at the next one.
So that's it for today's episode of The Efficiency Advantage. Head on over to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, or wherever you listen and subscribe to the show. One lucky listener every single week that posts a review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes will win a chance in the grand prize drawing to win a private VIP day with Coach Julie herself. Be sure to head on over to theefficiencyadvantage.com and pick up a free copy of Coach Julie's gift and join us on the next episode.